Hey everyone, welcome to Optimal Hero, where I give you a quick analysis of the Fire Emblem hero before going to their ideal skill builds. Now I don't want to give you advice and not follow it myself, so I'll be applying what I consider the ideal build onto my hero right in front of you. Now in some cases, there's really just one skill build with some minor adjustments, so I'll let you know of the adjustments. And that's the case for today's hero, the legendary Hector. What makes Hector great is his high stat total of 168, his weapon Armads, which has quick riposte 2 built in, and distant counter, which allows him to counterattack regardless of range. He has such a great combination as a result, because having quick riposte 2 and distant counter means any unit attacking him regardless of range gets hit twice. At least for the first time, as long as his HP is over 80%. Now we know he's a great hero and everyone wants him, especially on the arena teams. Hector can literally ruin arena runs, because of his monster defense and HP. He's the bane of archers, and he takes care of virtually all blue units. He's also deadly to non-red mages, but he can also be susceptible to other mages. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ideal stat variations for Hector. As you can see, a total of 168 with base HP of 52, base attack of 36, which is not including Armads, which is 16. You know, taking it all the way to 52. Quite monstrous, huh? His base speed is 24, his base defense is 37, and his base resistance is 19. Whoa, what is Elliewood doing there? Jeez. Anyways, so for Hector, ideally you want attack. Attack is always good for most characters anyways, and doing a bit more damage is a difference maker, especially for Hector who rarely double attacks. Now this is different on the defense, as Hector's weapon has quick riposte 2, which, as I said, as long as his HP is over 80%, he can attack twice, making better use of the attack stat. Now that's his ideal stat, but his next two stats are all about survivability. The next stats are speed and defense. Now I know people are already up in arms about speed. Hector with speed, you know, what's that all about? Well, as I'll explain to you, speed is actually a really interesting option for Hector. My Hector has 29 speed, but his base is actually 28. Of course, my Hector is a speed Hector. Now, as everyone knows, it's usually plus or minus 3 for a bonus stat, for like a plus stat or a minus stat. So his speed should actually be 27, but for some reason, speed Hectors get 1 extra point, and his actual total stats raises to 169 as a result. It's kind of strange, right? Anyways, having 28 speed, getting bumped up 1 more by a speed seal is actually a big deal. Now, ideally you want 30 speed to prevent all but the quickest units from doubling Hector, but at 29 you still cut off a bunch. So what does this mean? Assuming Hector is against a normal speed unit, it means the only archer that can double on Hector is Setsuna, so someone like Takumi, 1 shot only. This works the same for dagger users, except it's Felicia and Gaius only. He's also much more likely to survive a dangerous red unit. So units like Corrin can't double attack Hector if he has 29 speed. Kane can't quad attack Hector, but you know, double attack might still kill him. And this is the same for Olivia, Ike, Roy, Elliewood, and Tiki. None of these characters should be able to kill Hector in a single turn anymore if he has 29 speed. Now, red units are of course the most dangerous to Hector, but blues and green units aren't nearly as big of a danger as a result as well. If you have 29 speed, he can survive much longer versus them as well. Now, moving on to the next stat, defense. Now, defense is the same idea. It's all about survivability. It reduces a bit of damage to Hector, which in some cases can help him survive an extra blow. But as I'm going to point out, you know, 3 defense isn't going to do a lot if he's getting hit double consistently. It does make a difference, and it's more consistent than having extra speed, which only works for a specific number of characters, as in reducing the number of hits Hector will take. But you know, that's an option. So once again, your ideal stats variations is attack, speed, and defense. Plus HP plus resistance are typically a good deal because he has a lot of HP and his resistance being so low doesn't really help much anyways. So if you get a plus stat, you ideally want a minus stat in, well, speed. If you don't have plus speed, you want minus speed. As I'm going to point out, you know, Hector can't double most units anyways, and most units will double Hector regardless. So in that case, having less speed doesn't hurt him, but it would help him in that it doesn't take away a more important stat, and that's only for attack and defense. If you get a plus speed Hector, you want negative resistance, -3 resistance, because Hector survives magic by his high HP mostly anyways. Base defense of 37 plus defense putting at 40. A lot of units, especially archers, won't be able to do any damage on him. But that's kind of trade-offs you're going to be thinking of making. So once again, ideally plus attack minus speed, or plus defense minus speed. Minus resistance is also good in those situations. But if you get a Speed Hector, that also works out in survivability as long as you get minus resistance. Alright, moving on. So let's look at the ideal skill build, which is what everyone is here for. So we have his legendary weapon Armads, or Armads. It's 16 damage, which is quite a lot, and it guarantees a follow-up attack when attacked at HP over 80%. That's the equivalent to a quick riposte 2, which is a slot B move. That freezes slot B for other moves, which we'll get to later. So of course, for a weapon, he doesn't really have alternatives. It's basically Armads. Jeez, I keep making that mistake. It's Armads. Anyways, moving on to support skills, you want pivot, ideally pivot, but swap also works. I have pivot there because I think it's more useful for moving, because Hector can now just jump over a unit and essentially move two spaces. And it's very important to have pivot or swap, because in a lot of cases, Hector is going to get trapped behind a unit. So if Hector is surrounded by a unit, it's 3 units, he can't move. That's pretty bad, and in some cases this is going to cost you a turn of Hector, which could decide whether you win or lose. So let's start with the first application of the skill. For pivot, ideally you get it from Shirshi, I would say. Erica Marth also provided, but I don't seem to, for whatever reason, I can't seem to get it from them. So inheriting it from Shirshi. Where is she? There she is. Now the other things you can inherit from aren't very useful. Like hammer, it's not going to replace Armads. Attack +1 is not going to replace close counter, and fortified defense, which you might use in the future. So here we go. The first inheritance. Now, moving on, you want Bonfire for his special skill. Now, I'll explain why Bonfire is so important. If we look at Robin, let's see, where's my Robin? There he is. So for Bonfire, oh, he doesn't have it on right now. Bonfire is basically 50% of your defense going into damage. That's a big deal for Hector, as his defense is really high at 37. That works out to about 16.5, 17 extra damage, which is not the end of it, because the way Hector works is with his weapon, which is quick riposte 2. If Hector gets attacked, he'll attack once. He'll attack twice. His opponent attacks once. That's three turns. So for the very next attack, he's going to have Bonfire ready, which is what makes Bonfire the best choice for him. Alright, let's inherit it. Now, there are other options like Ignis. Ignis is 80% of defense to boost damage, but I don't think it's quite as ideal because surviving a 4th turn might not be very reasonable for Hector. But, you know, if he survives a character that can double attack him, yeah, he'll have Ignis online. But again, I don't really think that's very reasonable to happen. What the heck, we'll get spur defense. Yeah. Alright, that's our second skill. And obviously for the next skill is Distant Counter. We already have Distant Counter, as that's the natural skill to Hector. A lot of people actually have to make the decision to sacrifice Distant Counter for some really good melee units that don't have ranged attacks. Luckily, Hector doesn't have to make that decision for people that use Hector. And giving up a Hector, who's so rare for Distant Counter, is kind of iffy in my books. Anyway, so I'm just a bit of babbling, I guess. For the next one, it's Vantage 3. So as I was talking about, the combination of Armads and Bonfire is what makes Hector really good on defense. If he gets attacked, he'll automatically have Bonfire ready, so assuming he survives. Now, what makes this better is Vantage 3. With Vantage, he'll either be guaranteed to survive, it's guaranteed to use Bonfire if he's attacked, because, you know, he'll be under 75% most likely, and he'll use Bonfire, so he'll deal a ton of damage. Or, if he's not attacked, he can attack with Bonfire, which again is a ton of damage. So this combination is really good, especially on the defensive side of Arena. Let's see. I have to first get my long key to 4 stars to get Vantage 3. Now I know a lot of people will correct me on saying long key, and I'm actually Asian too, but I really can't say it right. Anyways, let's inherit the skill now. You also just want to use long key, and I guess Reinhardt now too, huh? That's right. You can get a 4-star Reinhardt and then get Vantage, but typically people end up with long keys, and you know, the one good thing he's good for is being sacrificed for Vantage 3. Let's see. Right, he becomes a 1-star. So Vantage, Vantage, Vantage. Now you know what? Now every skill up till now has a role. Armads, quick riposte 2, pivot, getting you out of getting stuck, Bonfire for that extra damage, guaranteed extra damage if Hector is ever attacked, Distant Counter so he can attack for at any distance and make better use of Bonfire, Vantage 3 which like makes sure he can use Bonfire, all provided he survives. So unfortunately we get to skill C, which I say unfortunately because it's really hard to suggest something here. Now I have threat and defense here, but I don't think it's really necessary. I would say it's a good choice because if something attacks Hector and they survive, they'll now have minus defense for when Hector's turn, and then this allows Hector to kill them more easily. But in most cases, this doesn't actually make a difference. You know, if a unit gets close to Hector, this could help him kill them, but Hector is really strong as is, and most units wouldn't survive. And the units that do survive, well, they're probably going to kill Hector anyways. The other issue is Hector is generally behind the battle, like he's behind your units. So, you know, he might not be able to use threat and defense. But this does let him use buff skills like Hone Attack 3, and if you already have a unit that has that, Hone Speed 3. So maybe it's better to have Hone Attack, Hone Speed over Threat and Defense. It's hard to say for sure. In this case, then you would have +4 attack or +4 speed boost. Alright, I'm not going to actually select anything for Hector right now. I think his current one is decent enough until Spur Attack 2, right? Until I decide on something. So, yeah, kind of let down. I know I said I'll commit him to all the skills, but for slot C, I'm just not sure about it. It's really up to you guys for what you think your Hector is best suited for your team. So now just learn the skills. Getting skill points with Hector was quite hard. Yeah, I have 1900 of them. Let's see. I'm at 1911. I should write that down so I can tell you how much skill points this requires. So pivot. Now I'll show you what Hector of Ostia is all about. You'll need glowing ember to get bonfire. And of course, we're getting bonfire. Yeah, I didn't even get Pavice. I knew what build I wanted to from the start, so I skipped a lot of skills. Vantage 1. Vantage 2. Hector is really good on defensive arena teams. Because of the skill set he has right now. A lot of people use a lot of blue units, and so if they lose their few red units and they bump into a Hector, their run's probably over. I should know this because it happened to me a bunch of times too. For slot C, I'm not so sure, so I'm not gonna place anything. So 711 skill points left. In other words, the skill build I was talking about took 1200 skill points. That's quite a bit, guys. So I think it's optimal, and that's what I'm committing to. Anyways, yeah, this is the finalized Hector. I think this is the optimal Hector, the best Hector you can have. I'll use him in Arena later on to show you guys if you want to see. I should link that video after this, right? Well, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want more, please like and subscribe. This was Nimius, and I hope you guys have a great day. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.